Guys, we are live, man. Welcome to the Coach Reed Live Show. It's Monday night. I got the king of the Big Ten here. Gary Davis.
Make sure they can see,
We're gonna
what else I represent.
Our Big Ten expert, right? We have our SEC expert, Mr. Smoke Dixon, graduate of the University of Alabama, alum of Alabama, right? We have our spokesman for Big Razors, Brandon Clay, member of the McDonald's All-American Committee, right? And then me, I'm the coach. I'm a washed-up former coach. So listen, this past Saturday, senior night at the University of Colorado, Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter's last home game at the University of Colorado. Brandon, I'm going to start here with you. What will they say years from now about the legacy of Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter at Colorado?
Well, those guys brought life to a program that was left dead and buried. Open statement, right? I actually was listening to the Colorado home series broadcast on Sirius XM and was headed up to Athens for the 8 overtime game, right? And one of the things that they said that I loved on the broadcast was normally senior day is reserved for guys who've been here 4 or 5 years. That's it's the tradition. But these guys will be as revered as anybody who ever spent 4 or 5 years here in the history of Boulder.
Wow.
I couldn't have said it any better. I thought it was great, right? That was just where you left it. And for them to come in and in 2 years, right, do what they've done, and really calendar-wise, we're talking 18 months. For them to do what they've done in 18 months of time is unbelievable. And that goes for everybody. Everybody that came in with that first wave that has played their last game, the bowl game notwithstanding, there in Boulder. What a run it has been for all of those young men, not just Shedeur and Travis. Obviously, they're the headliners, but just an incredible impact community-wise, program-wise, and should Dion choose to continue his trajectory there, they've forever shaped his trajectory there as well.
Kerry, when you look back on what's happened at Colorado the last couple of years, what do you feel like the impact is in moving forward? Can Colorado continue to maintain this at a high level?
I mean, I think as long as Coach Deion Sanders, Coach Prime is there, yeah, he is a game changer. And I think the thing that's interesting and is always funny to me is he always has been. Like, he is a two-sport athlete, played at the highest level. One of my favorite, if you look at my Illinois bio, I got him as one of my favorite players to play the game because he was that special to do so many things. When he came to the 49ers, I was a 49ers fan. They won the Super Bowl. Like, he has been doing this at every level. So it's funny that people find it shocking that his charisma and his ability to do the things that he's done on the field, that he wouldn't be able to do it off the field as a coach. And so he's just done a great job. And those two players, I think Clay just hit the nail on the head, man. They, in 2 seasons, they have changed the trajectory of what Colorado football was and is. And they have a history, a legacy there. Great players that have come out of there. They've got a Heisman Trophy winner. They've done a lot of things throughout the history of that program. But those two will be revered as 2 of the best to ever play there, to any names that you could think of.
Smoke, now, I get a lot of DMs throughout the week from Colorado fans. They think that you are a Colorado hater, tried and true. I'm just telling you what they think. I'm not saying that that's what you are. I'm just telling you what the people think, right? You have an opportunity right now to give out some flowers to Shedeur and Travis on the impact they've had at the University of Colorado. We want to see if you can do it.
Reed, I think you are secretly DMing yourself. I don't know how you're doing it. You're putting messages in there about what I think. But if I could switch my camera around in my office in here, there's only one Dallas Cowboy player up right now. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4 jerseys up, and Deion Sanders is one of them. Deion is one of my favorite players of all time. Anybody and everybody that knows me will tell you that. Now, what he's done as a head coach is he's shown guys like myself and former players that you can do it. You don't have to go through the old system of being a graduate assistant and being a coordinator and then working your way up. You can be that marquee guy and bring players with you. He showed the world that if you have players and they're willing to travel with you, you can command whatever you want to because you have the right hand to do whatever you want to do. And what Travis, and Shedeur showed America in college football is, irregardless of what you think of what method that we have to use in order to win and bring the star-studded people out here and bring entertainment to college football, we don't have to go that route. We'll choose our own route. And I'll bring my players with me, like he said, it was Louis bag, and we coming. And they brought that to college football. Now, what Travis and Shedeur are showing you is the ability to earn the right way through NIL. They're one of the few guys that have done it in a matter of actually marketing themselves. Everybody else is asking you to pay them without playing. They've played at a high level, and you've seen from Gatorade and all these other commercials, they want these young guys in it because they've done it the right way. So marquee player, marquee coach, winning game at a high level, that's all the flowers I can give to you guys. But Reed, I'm going to say it again. If you have 2 of the top 5 players in the NFL draft, you should be clipping off 10 wins. Awesome job the Prime did coming from 1 all the way to now. What they got now? 8 wins, Reed?
9. They 9,
right? They're plus 8. Phenomenal in 2 years. But the schedule that in front of them, the players that they have on that team, they should have went ahead and got 10, and they should be in the college football playoffs. That's all.
You know, I can remember guys sitting at Jackson State right before the SWAC championship when this is the weekend that coach was announcing he was going to Colorado. And everybody was questioning Shedeur and Travis. Would they be able, more Shedeur than Travis, would they be able to compete at that level, right? And they answered the bell. It was a lot of criticism last year during the 4-8 year, but man, they've answered the bell. Travis is the favorite going in to win the Heisman Trophy here down the stretch. And Shedeur is going to be the number 1 quarterback in the draft, which is what Coach Prime said would happen, right? You got to also look at them continuing to build and recruit, getting Jordan Seaton, who was a very important piece of the puzzle that they needed on the offensive line this season. When you got him, people criticized him, said he wasn't recruiting high school guys, but he went in and got the number 1 offensive lineman. Just closed on Juju Lewis. I mean, a plethora of high school guys have committed to Colorado here in the last week. We had 4 commitments in one night. The other night, led by the edge rusher who decommitted from Ohio State and flipped to Colorado. So the foundation has been set. But when I look back on what Shedeur and Travis have been able to accomplish, it was them number 1 choosing to go to Jackson State. That has to be a part of the story as well. They went with Coach Prime to Jackson State, won the SWAC. Then the move to Colorado, and when they came out of the portal, everybody was trying to get Travis to not go to Colorado. He had opportunity. He could have really went anywhere out of the portal, but they stuck together and stuck to the plan. So to me, that's something that I'll remember, and how they did it, how it started, and being able to be around when some of that thought process was going on. And I think that next year, remember that I told you this, next year, Colorado's team has a chance to be even better with the recruits that they're bringing in and the guys that are going to come in the transfer portal. Smoke, don't make that face. Have a chance to be even a better football team next season.
So, Reed, you're telling me that you're losing 2 of the best players in college football to the NFL, and you're going to get better?
I said what I
said. Replace them with 15 to 20. And this is what we had this conversation a couple weeks ago. You look at how they turned that roster over, and they've done a great job. But there's still some gap from a roster construction standpoint, which you always talk about. There are still some gaps, but there were always going to be gaps when you had to turn that many players over in 18.
I'm puzzled. I'm just a little bit blown away by you deleting subtraction of 2 of the best, and you won 9, and you believe adding who is going to get you to 10 or 11. Like there has to be something out there that I don't know, Reed.
Hey, stay tuned. You are right. You said a mouthful right there. There has to be something that you don't know. Stay tuned.
I'm locked in. There's somebody out there better than Travis and Shedeur. I can't wait.
I didn't say that. See, you try to trick the viewers. That's not what I said, right? You try to trick
You
the
didn't
viewers.
say that, but you're saying that.
And he said it's going to be a better team.
You know what
Next
makes
year.
a better team? Better
The
players.
best players.
Yeah.
100%. I agree.
If you have the best, your team is better.
That's
So
usually how it works, Mark. You're not wrong.
If you're telling me that you got somebody that's going to win the Heisman next year and be the first overall pick in the NFL draft potentially, man, I can't wait. I might become a Colorado fan again.
Well, number one, you're talking about recruiting. You're talking about the schedule that you have, right? You're talking about continuing to improve on both sides of the line, offense and defensive line. And you know that football at the championship level is about the trenches, right?
That to me is the most important part. Like if you get better up front, and they got marketably better from last year to this year up front.
No doubt.
You get better on the defensive line this year to next year, you got a chance to be really special. Now losing smoke can't help his face. I love it. Losing the best players in the country, you're gonna have to find somebody to make up for that loss. But you know,
Kerry, that's not a loss.
No. I'm not saying
that's over 50% of your offense.
I'm not saying that's going to be an easy task, but what I think happens on the offense is more guys get opportunities to get more passes.
I can't wait to see those other guys catch the ball more than
guys
than
as well.
Let me ask y'all this: Who are some of the matchups we want to see with Colorado in the bowl game?
That's a good question.
Good question. You know what? Read off the top. If Miami does not make it into the playoff, I would love to see Prime bust up Mario Cristobal. I'd love to see. And I wish that your Florida State Seminoles was halfway decent, so Prime can bust them up too.
How are they my Florida State Seminoles?
Because every time I told you that they weren't going to be about nothing this year, you told me I was a hater. So they're your team, not mine. If they're not mine, they're yours. I'm gonna give them to you because you want them.
What about an Alabama team if they don't make it in, or Clemson? Like I think I'm just like one of them.
I would love to see Jalen Milroe play against Shedeur and see Ryan Williams match up against Travis Hunter.
That would be
outstanding.
That would be outstanding. I agree.
You know what I mean? And to see Jordan Seaton play in a high-level, big-time game on New Year's Day, if that's the case.
Right.
So all America can see that Prime and those guys are doing a heck of a job of getting talent out there and playing high-level football. I love to see that. Reed, that'd be awesome.
Atlanta Stay Focused in the form right here says, Coach Reed, I said the same thing 2 months ago. The team coming is going to be even better. This is an intelligent man right here, Smoke. You should follow him on all his socials. This guy knows what he's talking about.
Hey, Reed, listen, man. I told you how many wins they were going to have last year, and he told me I was stupid. I told you how many wins they're going to have this year, and they hit it right on the head. I told you that they have maybe the best skill group in the United States, and he told me I was crazy. I told you that Jordan Seaton was the best offensive lineman that I've seen in the last 3 cycles. And he said I was insane. No, he said I was right.
You me like that. Hey, listen. Jordan Seaton is special.
They're different.
He's special. I got to get him. Next time I go up there, I'm going to see if he let me ride in the Maybach.
Man, you're the only person that told me to get that, man.
No.
You want to ride in it?
No. I would have told him to get a F-150, F-250, something like that.
And drive in the snow, dude.
Yeah, I wouldn't have said Maybach. You up there in that snow, you're going to need 4-wheel drive in the snow.
No questions.
So, listen to this. We got Colorado. We talked about them. We talked bowl game. But Kerry Davis, you have been getting abused in our group chat this weekend.
Hey,
You have been getting used in the group. We got to touch on the Big Ten.
Well,
We
let's
gotta touch on the
start
Big
with
Ten.
saying why I'm getting abused, because it's 3 SEC versus 1 Big Ten. It's not a fair fight. It's 3-on-1. But I'm a man. I stand up and take care of my own. So go ahead and do what you do, brother.
Well, first of all, I do want to say this to the people that are watching. Kerry Davis is from the city of St. Louis, but he played at the University of Illinois. He made an unpopular decision in going and spurning his home state. He could have been a true son, but he decided to go to Illinois. And he also said in another group chat, this is how diabolical Kerry Davis is, Smoking Brandon. He also said in another group chat that he hopes Missouri and Illinois play against each other in the bowl game, and that Illinois was going to crush Missouri. I think he said turbo clock as well.
I didn't actually say they was going to play. Somebody else in our group chat said Mizzou was going to play Illinois, and I said good luck to those Tigers from Columbia. That's what I said.
Breed, you know what? I'm gonna go with Kerry and say, if Illinois does play Missouri, I would take Illinois just for the fact that I think Luther Burden is probably going to opt out.
Yeah,
he already opted out.
He opted out.
He's going to opt out.
Yeah.
And Illinois and the physical play that they're going to do in the bowl game, I don't think Missouri's going to be. They don't want none of that smoke. Not right now. Not when. Let's just hear me out. Not when they have nothing to play for. I think they don't want that physical fight.
Here's a question that Brandon Clay asked, and that one of our viewers just asked it. Kerry, what happened to Ohio State?
What happened?
Let me tell you. I will stand by this. And Smoke didn't like when I said it, but I will stand by it. That Michigan team is one of the worst Michigan teams in decades. I have said that. Smoke looked at me like I was crazy when I said it a couple of weeks ago, because you thought I was being disrespectful to what Michigan is.
You are.
I'm not. They are one-dimensional. Mm-hmm. And for a fact, Smoke, one thing I have grown to appreciate about you is your football IQ. If a team is one-dimensional, what do? You force them to do that one thing that they cannot do well. Mm-hmm. Michigan can't throw the football to save their lives. They have started 3 separate quarterbacks. Their best player did not play. And so you're looking at a team that is one-dimensional, and you, Ohio State, lost to this one-dimensional, worst version of this Michigan team in 10 plus years, and you lost to them at home. You didn't score enough points. You didn't get enough stops, and you were not good enough. And I have been a person that has protected and defended Ryan Day, talked about how great his record is, and Smoke told me he don't show up in the big games. Reed told he don't show up in the big games. I was wrong. Ohio State losing that game, there is no excuse for that. None whatsoever. When you got everything on the line, Big Ten championship game on the line, you got an opportunity to win your division, to win your conference. If you go and win that game and you go beat Oregon, a rematch against Oregon, in which game you played at Oregon and played them down to the wire and was unable to finish that game. So we're not looking at an Oregon team that beat you by 20 points. That to me was that score, losing to that Michigan team, inexcusable. And the only way, and I don't even know how much I believe this, but I do feel this way. If Ryan Day don't win the national championship, he's probably out.
Whoa. Listen.
Hey, Kerry, don't say that too loud. Don't. Somebody else once said that. Don't say that.
I'm Carl Reed.
Don't say it.
I don't believe that should be the case, but you can't lose to Michigan, not this year's Michigan team. Bro, they are terrible. I have said it before. I don't think care what you say, Smoke. The team is terrible.
They're not
terrible. They are one-dimensional. They got 3 quarterbacks. They have tried it out there, and not one of them can throw the damn ball downfield. It's 2024. They can't throw. They have not figured out the forward pass.
Kerry, but you know what they can do? You know what they can do? You know what they can do? There are 2 defensive linemen, the interior guys, that law firm that you got, the Mason Graham law firm.
First round picks.
Yeah. And I told you guys from the beginning, Ohio State is the most talented team that I have evaluated in a long, long time. They're truly talented. But you are the exact vision in the person that your head coach is. If you are tough and you're physical, that's what you're going to produce. They aren't physical up front on either one of those lines. They're good, but they're not physical. And they're not tough enough to play against. I don't care what you say about that terrible team that you're talking about, Kerry. They're not terrible running the ball. They know how to run the ball, and they're physical.
They're not terrible running the ball, Smoke, but that's all they can do.
Okay,
Put
but they're
9 people in the box, man up on the outside, and see if the quarterback can throw it.
Kerry,
Man up.
They
You
try.
make it sound so simple.
Carry.
Listen, hold on. Let me stop you 1 second,
Go ahead,
please.
champ.
Because you just said this is the most talented Ohio State team you have seen. This is the
Yes.
most talented team. So you're telling me a team that cannot complete a forward pass, you don't think we're going to load the box and force you to throw the ball downfield? Let me see if you can do it. I don't care, because I got enough film to say that you cannot. They cannot. So I'm going to put as many bodies in the box. If you can block them, I'll tip my hat to you. But I'm going to have an unblocked defender. And that unblocked defender is going to make a tackle.
They tried that.
They didn't
They
do
tried.
it.
Gary, you know football ain't that easy. You make it sound so simple.
And you make it sound like it's so hard. And it's not. It's not. I promise it's not.
Let me say something real quick, Karen. You know when you're in that physical fight, and it don't matter how tough and how much weight you've lifted and how much you've ran, and you get that one punch in your face, and you're like, damn, he got me. After that first Michigan run, and they punched Ohio State in the face, all of those guys on defense looked at each other and said, dang, we weren't ready for this. And you saw it all, and this whole time, you saw that all game long. 3rd and 6, they ran it and got 10. Bleed the clock. Yeah, everyone knows they can't throw the ball. Kerry, I'm telling you, they sat there and watched it. We're going to make them throw. Yeah, you think Sharon don't know that too? Sharon's like, yeah, I know you're going to make me throw the ball, but I'm going to tighten this box up and bring all of your fast, pretty, and strong and talented guys in here and make this a physical fight. And you aren't willing to take this punch. And you saw that at the end of the game when they got punched again. They're just not a physical team.
That to me was a bigger problem. You had 60 minutes to fight, and you ain't fight hard enough then.
So
and now you can fight after the game
because that's what you are. Kerry, Jim Harbaugh, they've built that team to go up there and punch Ohio State in the mouth and beat them every single year. That's all they built them for. They ain't built it for nothing else. They constructed it for one team. Everybody else fall in line. But until Ohio State understand that you have to construct your team to beat Michigan and stop trying to play pretty boy ball with everybody else, you're always going to get your face kicked in. Beat the team that's been whooping you. Study them and become them and beat them. In Ohio State, they ain't done that. So when you do get punched in the face by what you said, awful team, and I don't think they're awful, they got players.
Offensively, let me rephrase. Offensively, Smoke.
They can run the ball, Kerry. They can block and run the ball. That's not a bad team. They're just not an explosive.
It ain't a bad team if it's 1994 and it's Nebraska. Yeah, that's a damn good team.
How dare you? How dare you?
That's how Smoke claiming them to be.
I just saw a team go in to the shoe and beat the second-ranked team and made them submit to them and then beat them up afterwards and had their coach.
And I saw that same team come into Illinois and not do that. That's what I'm telling you.
You got to bring them back.
We got to throw Illinois in there. We got to talk about
that same team come to Illinois and not do that, and not run the football to the tune that you're talking, and not pass the football at all.
Styles make fights too, though, Kerry. You know that.
Kerry, but I just told you that Illinois is a physically built team to endure all of that punishment. That's why I said he would beat Missouri. I'm seeing it your way, but you have to just see it what it is. Michigan is not an awful team.
He's devastated about the Big Ten. That's
I'm not devastated.
We're gonna get to that shortly. His
best
devastation.
team in the country is still in the Big Ten, so
let's talk about
that.
Is Oregon here? Oregon's undefeated. They in the Big Ten championship this weekend. Are they the favorite, Brandon, right now to win the national championship?
I think any of these teams are beatable on any week. Now, they're the favorite because they haven't lost, but Wisconsin almost got them. That's not to shoot at Oregon at all. That's not what I'm here for. But any team right now that's in the top 5, top 8, whatever, all these teams are beatable on the right day. They've all proven that over the course of the season. Oregon barely beats Ohio State, who loses to Michigan. They barely beat Wisconsin. The SECs all beat each other up. Like, no one's exempt from this statement, right? I think this is a year, and I know Smoke's not a huge fan of the expanded playoff, but I love it, especially a year like this, because you don't know who's going to win. Now, maybe Oregon finds their way to 3 victories and they take it home. Great. But there's a lot of intrigue and interest all the way through now. It's cold outside, and we still are not sure exactly who the real odds-on favorite is. If I was going to put money down in Vegas, I'd be hesitant to bet on any of these people. I want the team with the best odds. Like, give me the Jokers that are 1,000 to 1 where I get the most money. At this point, it all seems like it could go any different way depending on 1 or 2 plays in any of these bowl games, playoff games, or whatnot. So Oregon, the favorite, sure, until they lose. But we could blink on Sunday morning and they have lost in the Big Ten championship game. It's just the way the year's gone, man.
Hold on, B. Hold on. I can't. They haven't lost. It's not about the 10. It's about the O. They haven't lost.
Okay. Reed, I'm with you. Like, you're what I said.
Anybody.
Hold on.
We can say anybody can lose on any weekend, but they haven't lost.
Okay. All of which I get. And we are on the same page. That Wisconsin game was nasty. They found a way to win. Congratulations to them. They are the favorite. It's not odds on where they're so much better where you're like, yo, they can't be beaten. And it's just 2 different things. Again, my opening statement, this is not to diminish Oregon. It is to speak to, I think, the climate of the room in totality.
I wish you could put our group text on the thread up here so people could see it. Because when Georgia was about to get smoked by Georgia Tech, Mr. Clay over there, we it's a rivalry game. Anything can happen.
That's what happens. It is a rivalry.
Football.
You
Okay, you're right.
You go from Oregon to Wisconsin in that environment. That's a tough place to play. It doesn't matter.
No one said that. No one was getting at Wisconsin. No one was getting at Oregon. Like, y'all, my opening statement, Oregon is the favorite. They are good. This is not they've not run through the schedule, beating everybody by 3 touchdowns. We don't have a team like that this year. This is a great year for college football. I'm enjoying it. I love it. It's Oregon's until they lose, but they very well could lose on any Saturday, and you wouldn't be shocked.
I wouldn't say it's Oregon's till they lose. It's up for grabs. Oregon gonna have to show out.
But who's it up to grab?
I think they're the best team. I think they have the most talent. I think they're the best team because we've talked about this. Every other team, in my opinion, that's gonna end up in the college football playoff has some warts to it. Has something that you're looking at and you're like, man, I wish they had this a little bit better. I wish they had a better running game. I wish they DBs was this. I wish the O-line or D-line was just a little bit better. Oregon, to me, hasn't shown many of those warts as the other programs have this year. Which is
the wart that I've seen. You know the wart that I've seen on Oregon, just like I've seen on a lot of these teams that are built to play with 11 personnel, physical play. If you bring in a team just like Wisconsin brought it to them and make it muddy and murky and don't take it out there where you want to win by 10 and have style points and just bring that fight in close, like you just said, Reed, sometimes you can make that championship fighter look bad. And after a period of time, just like Georgia Tech did to Georgia, they made it muddy, dirty, and ugly. And you just got to figure out a way to win.
Which team is that right now in college football? That if we're looking at these teams in the college football playoffs, which team is that? The physical, upfront, punch you in the mouth, and you gotta withstand it over and over and over again.
The closest team that can do that at a consistent basis is Texas, in my opinion. But when you put Texas against Georgia, that's a bad matchup for Texas because that's what Georgia wants, and that's what Georgia is built for. But you put Texas against Oregon, yeah, Texas will bust Oregon up. Bust them up.
Yeah, I think that Texas will be my pick going into the playoffs. I think they had the best overall team, and we say this a lot on the show. Styles make fights. I just think that Georgia's a bad draw for Texas
It
because
is.
the way that Georgia plays.
Draw this weekend.
Yeah, but they
We'll see on Saturday. We're gonna see.
But we go and it's basically a home. We all know the SEC championship is a home game for Georgia anyway.
No doubt.
Like down there in Atlanta. Brandon, will you be at the game?
Come on. First of all, I'm insulted you would ask me that. Second of all, I'm insulted that you insinuate it's a home game.
It is a home game.
No. It'll be 50-50, man. It'll be 50-50, even split. Same as the Ohio State National semifinal a couple years ago.
Stop. Brandon, you both know that when Georgia or Bama plays in the SEC championship, it's a home game for either one of those squads. Stop it. Everybody else got to travel. Yeah.
Hey, a quick point to that, though, and I think this will be interesting to watch. I think y'all saw on Saturday the 8 overtime game. I am lying. Let me stop. I am lying. See on the comment. I'm lying. It's a home game. It's gonna be backed out. When you watched Kirby Smart and Smoke, you alluded to it a little bit pre-show. Man, the poise that he had was not the same. You go back years, and this is one, and obviously you have to have the right person for this to work. But I remember him calling that fake punt on the 4th and 9, like, boy, you've lost your mind against Nick Saban. You are crazy. And for him to stay as low-key and mellow during that fight as he did, timeout. And he was the same. I know what Buster doing. I got it. And for the first time, you were able to see it kind of reverse. You know, it's always been Nick to him like that, right? And for the first time, he was able to chess up one of his old proteges. You're not going to get me tonight, young fella. Mm-hmm. I appreciate the good fight, but I'm going to stay solid. And I think even when you look at the Texas game early in the year, obviously in the Alabama first quarter, I pray we never see another quarter like that again. That was awful. But I think that Georgia in that regard, when you talk about Texas, you talk about Georgia, who are some people that can throw a punch or two and make it tough for an Oregon should they draw them? I agree with y'all in totality on Texas. But I think the Oregon to the landing discussion that they could do that as well because of because of where he is right now as a coach.
And even for Georgia, Reed, the matchup of any mobile quarterback puts Georgia in a pickle.
It does.
You see what I'm saying? So it's for me, it's all about the matchups when the final seat rankings come out and see who's in. Because if Jalen Milroe plays against Georgia, sorry,
no,
don't bust him up.
Hey, let us get Indiana.
You know what I mean?
I think Georgia gonna take it to Texas this weekend and get the first round bye. Like I think that's how that's gonna play out.
And if you feel like that, come to the game with me, Kerry. Come on, I'll fly you down here.
I do. I feel like Georgia gonna take it to him again. And
hey,
so
this is a good question right here, Smoke. I'm gonna go right here.
What was you finna say? Smoke had a question.
This is a question. Does anybody on the panel think Boise State has a shot to get out of the first round?
No.
They're gonna have a first round bye. So yes.
That's the only way. If they get a first round bye.
Boise State better worry about UNLV on Friday.
They should worry about that.
They better be worried about UNLV.
Bad matchup for UNLV.
Also,
they barely beat UNLV earlier this year.
They barely got by UNLV. They better be worried about UNLV.
Yeah, I'm not saying UNLV won't beat them. I'm just saying I don't like that matchup from Boise being able to play keep away by running the football.
See, Smoke.
And when you watch UNLV play, what game was that when they went into 3 overtime and the linebacker was all beat up? Carl, you and I was on the phone. It was a Friday. Syracuse took them all the way down to the wire, and you just saw a team that was not – they lacked depth, and they just ran out of gas. And I think if Genty can get the ball 37 times and they can convert those third downs and make the game longer, Kerry, I could see where the go-go offense does not get the ball enough, and that defensive line would call a couple of your cousins out there and a couple of your kinfolk playing defensive line out there and linebacker for UNLV. You think I ain't know that half of them people, your family members, you fooling yourself. I see all that Missouri on there, and just wearing them down. But like you say, style make fights, and I don't like this matchup for UNLV, but I still believe they can pull it out and win. But like you said, Kerry, they're gonna have to load it up with 9 in the box.
Yeah, when I asked you about which team was physical, I actually thought you were gonna mention Boise as well, because they will run the ball 35 times, 40 times. See, Carl, I love that I can see y'all face, because your face tells me everything. See, when I mentioned Boise, Carl's face did something weird. I don't know if y'all caught that, because it's a lack of respect, as if this Boise State team didn't take the eventual #1 team down to the wire. I watched it. Ashton Genty, everybody will say, oh, he played a Mountain West player. He put up 197 yards against the best team in the country and did it and looked damn good doing it. Running past Oregon defenders, 60, 70-yard run. This is what he's done. And so that's a team. And like you said, Smoke, you understand football just like anybody else. You, Reed, Clay, y'all understand this. If I have more possessions than you, if I keep the ball longer than you, how the hell are you going to score? If I got more opportunities, if I'm holding on to it longer, you going 3 and out, you get 5 plays, 6 plays, you got a punt, I'm going to have more opportunities and I'm going to have more chances to score and win the game. And like you said, shortening the game, limiting the opposing team's opportunities to score. That's what Boise State has been doing as well. So they are also another team, because of their style, and y'all keep saying styles make fights. If I'm going to run this ball at you 40 times, good luck, my man. Because outside.
Here's what's crazy, and the average viewer won't catch this, but since I know all your tricks, right, I caught this here. Now, you just explained to our viewers that Boise State is a problem because they can run the ball.
Don't say it.
But you didn't understand how Michigan.
I don't. Not against Ohio State. No, I don't. Not against Ohio State. No.
It's the same thing.
I don't. It's Ohio State. I don't get it.
Kerry, what we're saying is remove the name and the logo off of it. And just remove what I said about the most talented team and get back to the bare basics of football. Big people moving little people with big and fast people running behind them with explosive runs to score.
100%.
And doing that at a high level to physically impose your will against that team and break them. That's all that Michigan's done in the last 4 years. They don't want it no more, bro.
I just didn't understand how Kerry didn't understand that's how you
do it. But
it's Big Ten. Whenever it goes Big Ten, mine kind of goes.
Nah, Michigan beat them up. I get it. I don't get it how you let it happen, Ohio State. That's all I'm saying.
How? Kerry.
How?
I'm going to tell you how. I am Debo. You are Little Craig and Smokey. I come in your neighborhood, I snatch chain, and you can't do nothing about it. And when when you try to, I knock your friend out. And you see your friend laid out. So then you're gonna wake up and you're gonna say, am I tough enough? Am I up top enough to take that one every single time?
Here's what everybody has to understand too. We keep talking about the money. You paying for players doesn't mean you're gonna have a good football team.
No.
Football is still about chemistry, culture, work ethic, playing together.
Hit the brakes.
All of the intangible things. You can go get the best player from here, and everywhere else. It doesn't mean you're gonna win football games, especially not championship caliber football games. It doesn't mean that.
So by
hit the horn real quick.
By y'all account, and hold on. By y'all account, Michigan should be in the 12-team playoff because they so physically dominant up front.
You always go too far.
You tripping.
Y'all tripping. We're not y'all tripping. You know good and damn well that Michigan team don't deserve. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying.
What don't they deserve? What don't they deserve? What don't they deserve?
By what you're saying, you that Michigan, because of their style, because of how physical they are, the championship.
That space says it all.
That's what you're telling me.
Is that not what y'all? Brent
No,
Clay, am I
okay.
deceiving you?
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Unclock them.
That's not what y'all saying.
No, all
They're
we're
so
saying
physical. They can do whatever.
is,
You get punched in the mouth. Debo, you told me you Debo. Don't take Oregon chain.
I want
Don't
to
take
touch on this real quick.
Don't take Georgia chain.
Hold on.
They that physical. It ain't the same, and y'all know that.
what did
So
Michigan
y'all
do to
saying
you?
is crazy.
He got a thing with
Crazy.
Michigan, man.
God, I don't even like Michigan like that.
You just said they was Debo,
They
and they
are
went in there
to
and took their chain.
they are to Ohio State. That's all I'm saying. They are to Ohio State.
So we got smoke real quick. Me and you
Go
gonna
ahead.
jump into this a little bit. Donald says, why does no one want to recruit high school kids when I just made the comment about the money? Donald, I'm gonna say this to you. People are recruiting high school kids, just not the borderline ones. Like that's what it boils down. Everybody says high school kids is being slept on. They're not being recruited. They are being recruited. The guys that are the best, they have no problem being recruited. But those guys who are too short, too slow, not quick enough, their film doesn't look right. Those guys are going to have to go play at the Division II, the FCS, the NAIA level. Everybody that has a major college football program is still recruiting at the high school level, but they're not recruiting guys that are borderline or below. They're not recruiting guys that you have to red shirt and hope that 2 years from now they can play. And Donald says there, he makes a statement. He says, you have to build through high school. No, you don't. You do not have to build your program through high school kids. You do not have to do that. There's only certain teams that can do that anyway, that can get the players that are. How many players do you think are good enough to play in the SEC? How many players are good enough to play in the Big Ten? It's not a lot. You have to get the very best football players. I know I can name you right now 10 coaches that have lost their jobs in the last 2 weeks because they've remained committed to only signing high school players. You can't go sign all high school kids when the guys you're playing with going and getting guys that's 23 and 24 years old. You can't play.
Eighth year in college, seventh year in college. So Reed, I think what Donald, just if we can break it down for Donald real easily. Donald, if there are, let's say high school players, 10 high school players, Reed is only saying there's only 5 that you really want, because those 5 that are coming in, at least they have to be in your 3 deep, meaning that they can give you production on special teams, give you an opportunity to put them in sub packages, or just have a package for them. They're offensive players. You aren't looking at, if you're talking about the Power 4 schools, Reed, you aren't looking at the word of development anymore, because develop means that, coach, you have 2 years before you get fired.
You don't have 2 years.
You lack people that truly understand projection, because they don't understand how to evaluate prospects that need to get projected. Nor do you have good enough coaches that are going to spend time with those projection players, developmental players, to invest in them in order for them to play in 2 years, because you have to have the understanding that in 2 years, when that player plays real well to really good, they're going to the highest bidder. So all you've done is become a developmental league for the big brothers within college football. And if you want to waste your time doing that, go right ahead. But unless you are the groups of schools that are the lower levels, you can take some of those projection players and develop them, but understand that when they have 2 years of eligibility, or they have that 1 year eligibility, they're going to sit down in those 4 games, and the LSUs, the Georgias, the SMUs now, I'm going to throw them into it because they got money now and they're 8-0 in the ACC. The rest of those teams are going to come get them. They're going to raid your team. So yes, high school players are still being recruited. Yes, you can build through high school if you supplement with the portal in order for you to have a successful team, because there's not a lot of coaches that want to get fired and have to get that moving truck out. So when you see 10 players in the portal that can help you bridge those younger kids, you take those kids. But those bridge players got to be ready to play when they get on campus. So the 150-pound offensive lineman carry that you had, that we knew that in 2 years we can put 40 pounds on them and get them to 290, and year 3 and 4 they'll be really good. Yeah, you don't have time for that because the scholarships are still at 85, but your roster is only at 105. So that's going to change the whole entire thing as well too.
And Smoke, not only do we not have time for it, the high school, most of the kids aren't working hard enough to be developed anyway. When you put them in a situation now, because the transfer portal works both ways. So when those developmental players go into the SEC or the Big Ten and they don't play, they just leave.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to stay. When they go to their exit meeting, guys are having exit meetings right now, and the coach has said, you need to work on this. You need to work on that. You need to adjust this about your game, that about your game. Those guys aren't receiving that coaching and saying, I'm going to go into the offseason and have the greatest offseason of my life. They're saying, I'm going into the portal because I want to go somewhere that will take me as I am. They will take me for exactly what I am today. I don't want to work harder. I don't want to watch more film. I don't want to improve my speed, my strength, my size. I just want to play, right? And so they just leave. So it's a two-way street. The coach, right, has a situation, but the player has a situation too. And all the older guys, I say this all the time, all the old guys, the guys that are our age, that are older, I hate the transfer portal. It is we had to endure when we played. We had the only reason that most of the guys didn't transfer when we played is because we couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
There were rules in place that prevented you from leaving. You could transfer down. If you didn't transfer down, you had to sit out a year. Your college coach could block what schools you could go to.
Mm-hmm.
Also, that happened all of the time. So all of this, I gotta stay. I like kids are lacking this, they lacking that. The majority of the guys we know would have transferred to if given the opportunity to.
Reed, when I was sitting on the general manager seat at University of Maryland, even over at Vandy, one thing that I always came up with was a developmental plan for every single athlete that played meaningful reps. Even if there was walk-ons that had the opportunity, I felt like, to contribute in a few years, I would work out a plan for them. And I would give them the recipe for them to get better the next year. And I always wanted to talk about just increase your deal by 25%. Because in 4 years, if you improve 25, you get to that max of who you could be. And I remember sitting down, Coach Lee would let me sit in there and I would give them my spiel, or I would write that down and put it in the write-up for Coach Loxley, and he would read it to those guys. And I would say, okay, there were a few guys that was like really receptive and say, Smoke, you know what? I love what you just said. I got to improve A, B, and C. But majority of those kids, like you just said, will call their coach or call their handler or look at me side-eye like, man, how dare you say I got to get stronger? You don't think I can cover? No, I never said you can't cover. I just said in order for you to get to be the number 1 or number 2 corner, you need to do A, B, and C well. You need to get on the jug machine. You need to improve your speed. You need to get strong. But like you said, we aren't built and we're not developing our young people to listen well enough in order for them to improve their skill set. Meaning that, yes, high school recruiting is going down because of what the high school coaches are doing to their players and accepting from their players of complaining. You see what I'm saying? So that's where what you just said hit it dead on the head. You're giving them information to improve, but they don't want it.
Yeah. Like Terry just said in her comment, they need to bring the transfer rules back. And a lot of people think this. They want the players to be more accountable. They have to deal with it. Here's the problem. Us as people, and this is in all walks of life, we don't like when people make decisions that we don't like. When Kerry does something that I don't agree with, I don't like it. I call him and I say, bro, what are you doing? If I do something he don't like, he calls me and we talk about it. That's human nature. My brother does something I don't like. I say, hey, man, what's the problem? But the truth of the matter is you can't control other people's decisions. You can't make people stay. You can't keep people from going. It's not our job to judge the journey of another person's soul. It's only our job to know who we are, not who someone else is or who they failed to be. We have got to stop trying to control the decisions that everybody else makes. with their life. Brandon, I know you see this a lot in basketball also with the transfers all over the place, especially it's happening more on the women's side. What's your take on transfers?
I mean, I'm fine for any rule you want to institute for the kids to transfer league to league, got a city year, transfer. I'm fine with all that as long as the coaches got to abide by the same rule. Assistant coaches, head coaches, anybody that coached the previous year. If you have to abide by the same transfer rules the student athletes do, y'all do whatever y'all want. But they won't do it. And they're not going to do it. So leave the kids alone. But if they'll put something in place where all the adults and the kids abide by the same rules in terms of movement, because they're all free agents at the end of the year every year. As long as you're willing to do that, I'm cool with whatever they want to do. But they won't do it. And honestly, they shouldn't do it. But even if they wanted to do it, they wouldn't do it. It's too much money on the line.
Yeah. I wanted to go back to what Smoke was saying about the evaluation part and as a player. Like, I think if you have aspirations of making it to the next level, you always going to be getting coached. If you're uncoachable or unwilling to listen to what the instructions are or the directions or the suggestions, whatever term you want to use whatever term you want to use to define that, you're not going to have success. Like, you're not going to be able to have a sustainable career either at the collegiate level or at the professional level, in whatever sport. And I say that it's like when your coach tells you something, hey, this is what you need to do. That's what you need to do because that's what they're looking for. That's what they expect from you. They already know you're there because of a certain skill set. Now, can you add this to that skill set? This is the next step. This is the maturation in your game. And if you're unwilling or unable to do that, and you just want to go where it's easy, you ain't going to have success, bro. And I don't care if that's women's basketball, softball, baseball, basketball, football, whatever the sport is, you have to be able to take what your coach says to you, whether it be in film, in the off season, going into the new season. You got bowl practice right now. I'm sure there is a lot of people sitting there right now that are getting instructions on what we need you to work on over this next 3-week period. This is what I need to see from you, because what that's going to do is catapult you into spring ball. Spring ball going to catapult you into fall ball, fall training camp, and then into the regular season. So it's a decision that you have to make. And if you're unwilling to make that decision, don't point the finger at nobody else. Don't blame nobody. Oh, they hating on me. No, they're not. They want to win more, just as much as you do. And if you can help them win, they're going to show you what you need to do to help them win.
They want to win. They want to win too bad. We got a viewer question specifically for Brandon Clay right here. This is take us a little long. I'm not going to let you spend long on this, B, but I am going to let you address this fan's question. Brandon, do you think Cooper Flag is a solid number 1 pick for the NBA draft?
I like Cooper Flag. Is he an elite level athlete? No. Is he competitive? Is that cat playing hard every moment he's on the floor? Yeah, from what I've been able to see in high school, and that's translated to Duke. Can he continue to get better? To Kerry's point, right? Can he continue to take instruction from Shire and wherever he goes in the pros? Absolutely. I think him being able to go with that U.S. select team to Vegas in July was a huge catapult, because I think those guys got to see, okay, this dude, he plays like this all of the time. Like, he might not be ready yet, but he doesn't take any possessions off, and he's doing that against us. We're the best in the world. I think Dylan Harper, Ron Harper's son, and then Ace Bailey, both of them are Rutgers. The roster around them is still building, but those two can really play. So you got several guys, I think, in that mix there at 1 that if you told me I was a GM and that's what I took at 1, I'd be okay with. But to answer the question, I do like Flag, and I think it's his competitive nature and willingness to play on every possession. You know what you're getting. Smoke, you'll appreciate this. Aiden Hutchinson, right? You just knew what you were getting. He was going to play hard. Did he have maybe some limitations? Absolutely, but he was going to be a dog. And in a year that doesn't have a Wembanyama, a LeBron, I'm cool with that.
This is Boss Omar made this statement here, and we're going back into the NIL discussion. The money they negotiate should be placed in a trust until completion of contract period. This is the problem with that. You can't control grown people's money when they're earning money that they're working for. You can't. That's like somebody telling you your paycheck needs to go in a trust until you've completed the assignments of your job. You would never accept that. Like we want so bad to control what these kids are doing with their money. We want to control what they're doing with their time. And what I don't understand is why do we want so much control over other people's lives?
I can let me answer that real quick.
Go ahead.
I think, and you probably finna say the same thing, because people are still assuming college athletes, they're looking at it as amateurism, and it's no longer that. They are professionals. They're getting paid. There's money being distributed amongst the players. They are professionals that go to college. It's no longer an amateur sport. So if I'm a pro and I'm in college, but I am a pro, I'm getting paid for a service. You can't tell me what to do with my money. You can't tell me where to spend my money. If I want to get, if I get a $200,000 check and I want to spend it on a $200,000 car, it's foolish. But that's what the hell I want to do. Man, you're gonna have to pay taxes, and you probably don't realize that. But that's that person's money, and they can do with it as they please. So you can't tell them, "Oh, put it in the trust." If they have good financial people around them, which hopefully they do and should, then someone can tell them how to manage the money that they're receiving. Other than that, and then it's just a suggestion. It's still a suggestion. If I say, "Hey, you should do this with your money," that's just a suggestion. You do whatever the heck you want with your money.
You know what? I'm agree with everybody. Two things can be true, and I believe what Carl Reason said is true from the aspect of you coming from a family that understands the financial world and investment in finances. But I do agree with what he just said, with the understanding of putting that away, because all of us have been to college. Some might have had more than others, but I don't necessarily believe that at 18, 17, 19 to 20-year-old, that you should have your hands on $500,000 to $200,000 to do whatever you want. It's your money and you can. But if I was that age and somebody would have told, Kerry, you remember when we used to sit in those NFLPA rep meetings, and they used to say dump all this money in your 401k, and you and I probably both got out and like, man, the hell with them. I ain't even listening to that.
No, I did.
There you go. There you go.
Every dollar I could.
There you go.
Every single dollar.
There you go. Because they matched you 150%.
100,
right?
Yes.
And in a couple of years, you're going to benefit from it. At that time, you and I both were sitting like, man, I ain't going to let them people tell me about nothing to do with my money, dog. I earned it. But at times, we all need someone to say, listen to what I'm saying. Put it away, because you don't need it now. You want it right now. You want to buy a Maybach. You want to buy the jewelry. You want to have all this clothes. But understand, in college, you're in this one little pocket, our own little community that we can survive. And we all come from different walks, Carl, that you might need to help out back at home. There's special situations, special cases for that. But for the most part, if you dump that money, say in 5 years, I'll go pick it up when I really need it and I get out of here, and I can really touch it, I believe you'll be better off than allowing them to do what they're doing now. Dumping in something that you can also help save on some taxes. There's some tax break out there that you can do if you don't touch that money right away. Get with the right financial people to don't touch it. I promise you can live off of that cost of living check that are sometimes 20 and 30 grand that these young people are getting. Most of us parents were making 45 grand. All together. My parents did that all together and took care of 7 kids. You can do that, but you just have to discipline yourself to do it. A lot of these college kids, and I know I'm going on a rant, they want to have the same image of what professionals look like, of having the big chains in the cars, but those professionals are making M's, and they got 17 weeks of that money coming in. And most of the NBA guys, guaranteed. Kerry, you and I both knew when we went in the locker room, there were certain guys that was making a bunch of money. That old vet pulled you to the side and said, hey, listen, youngster, you can't hang out with such and such, because when he goes to the club, he's putting away 10 bands. Your check is only 13. We were in the club of making 225. That was our minimum when we were rookie. So you getting 13 and getting taxed on it. So you can't go spend 10, because if you spend 10, that's your check for the week, bro. So a lot of what that guy just said, I agree with. what you also said, Carl, also there has to be somewhere in the middle that we can educate these kids, because I've seen it. A lot of these kids are making money, Carl. They ain't doing nothing with it.
We got a comment from Crimson Wealth on Instagram. He says 3 or 4 years of NIL money invested properly can change your life forever, right? And you know, you can. We ain't gonna put all our personal business, but stock, Bitcoin, you know, real estate, some of the things that we do and have going on, those can be very lucrative for guys. So there is a lot of truth in that if you get with the right financial advisor and you follow a plan and you have the discipline. The only thing that I'm saying is you can't make somebody do that.
Agreed.
You can't.
That's
You
the
can.
part. Yeah.
You can educate them. You can give them the resources. We also know guys who got $1 million at 30,
Mm-hmm.
at 40, and blew all of it.
Oh yeah.
Not necessarily a age thing, you know, but
Mm-hmm.
from everything else, you know, it is right.
Yes.
We had a comment on here earlier when we were talking about transfer portal in high school on Clemson because because and Smoke, you talked to Dabo the other day. A lot of people, so people watching the show, Dabo Sweeney, the head coach at Clemson, was an assistant coach at Alabama, and he recruited Smoke. He was the coach who recruited Smoke to the University of Alabama. They're very close. Um, and Dabo gets a lot of, you know, flack for not being in the portal, Smoke. But Clemson is in the ACC championship game
Oh,
again.
really? Huh. With no transfers.
Defend Dabo for a second.
Well, I'm gonna defend him again. And even though I told him last time that his team is looking more Ivy League-ish as these years go on, because he's losing some of those dollars that he typically gets, because you know he's losing them to the NIL funds. But it's easy said is this, Reed. You said that you can't do it. I think that you can. And the reason why I think you can build your team through high school is when you know the beast that you're dealing with, you can best control that beast. And when you start going portal, it's hard to control that beast that you're getting because you don't know what that is. You see what I'm saying? And you just have to be able to be in a place where AD, president, is vertical aligned with you to say, hey, listen, we're going to give you 4 to 5 years for you to be able to develop your team. And I think Coach Sweeney, over a period of time, he got that. And he understands his team totally, the way that he wants to do it. And again, they're showing up and they're playing in the championship game again, even though everybody's beating them up. And I told you to leave them alone in the summertime. I told you to leave them alone during the season. And just go ahead and just leave him alone altogether. Is he going to have that same championship run that he had a few years ago? Probably not. But he's going to be a consistent 10-game winner. He's going to be in the ACC Waste Management Conference Championship all over again. And then that's what it is. It's a waste management group, bro. You can't have.
I'm going to say something, too, about Dabo. When he won the 2 championships, he had Deshaun Watson, he had Trevor Lawrence. He had 2 generational quarterbacks.
First round. Yeah, no doubt.
2 first round. If he had an elite quarterback right now, like that's been the Achilles heel. Cade Klubnik hasn't turned out to be the player that everybody thought he was going to be coming out of high school.
Highly inconsistent.
Yeah.
When there's good Cade and there's bad Cade. When Cade is good, Clemson is, you see them shooting back up close to the top 10. When he plays and turns the ball over and make erratic decisions, you see them back to losing the teams that they shouldn't, a la South Carolina. So it all comes down to, like I said, Reed, the quarterback. If you have a first-round quarterback, you should not be in the conversation 8 wins. You should be 10 or better. That's all I'm saying.
This is a question from Coach Stokes. Coach Reed, what do you think the average number of high school kids signing contracts to D1 Power 4 schools will be in 2025? I don't think that it's a number. I think it's ability. It all comes down to how good are you. I get film and people hit me about kids all the time. It's not a number. It's about your ability. Are you a legitimate Division I football player? In Brandon's case, are you a legitimate Division I basketball player? There is no magic number. They're not sitting back saying, I'm going to take 10 of these guys and 15 of these guys. They have to just find the very best players for their program. So at the end of the day, I mean, that's the reason that's the issue. And I was talking to a guy about this the other day. I had a kid I coached in high school once. I'm not gonna say his name or what school I was coaching at, but he got very upset with me because he thought he was an SEC player, and he ended up going Division II to one of the Division II schools. And in the state of Missouri has a great Division II school conference. He went to the Division II school and never started, right? So if you can't go to a Division II school to start and be an all-conference type guy, how do you expect to play in the SEC? How do you expect to play in the Big Ten? These are things that you really have to deal with when people are evaluating your game. And whether you like it or not, there are people that are getting paid to evaluate your game based on physical traits, based on what you show on film, based on ability, based on what we know works and doesn't work in certain leagues. And if you get overlooked in your mind, then you have to be able to go to the level you got recruited at and play dominant football. And if you can't, what are we even talking about?
Reed, and we said when you're constructing rosters, you can't stash players anymore because there's no need to. You remember when you used to sign 25 and you say, you know what, we got 20 really good ones that we know they can play, and these 5 are down the line guys.
Yeah.
Well, those down the line scholarship, you can now take those and say, I'm gonna get 5 portal supplemental bridge gap players that can come in for me right now and start at quarterback, start at left tackle, start at cornerback, and be my Mike.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Smoke. Fantastic. I think all we want to know is why Dabo won't do that.
There's no need to. He is fine with winning ACC championships and winning 10 games. What's wrong?
I respect that. I respect
that. What I'm saying. So, in to me,
we're like that's not the bar. Like you talk about, at Ohio State, for instance, right? Like they trying to. And I'm not take Ryan Day out of here. I just mean the school in general. They're trying to win a national title or else one of those.
Coach Sweeney is trying to win a national championship as well too. But what you have to understand is there's not enough hours at times to put up with some of the headaches that you're going to get from set player that's not going to get you to a championship level. Let's use Ohio State, for example, or Ole Miss. Okay. You've invested so much in the portal to beat Michigan, go undefeated, and win a national championship. Now, if you don't do that, was it worth it? No, because that player is gone. Is it worth it investing into a player that in the middle of the season when things get tough, they opt out again because they've always opted out? Or is it worth it winning 8 games with a player that you know in 2 years he's going to help you win the national championship? So those are the things that you got to weigh in to see how you want to build your team. And if you understand that you have that within your team to develop that, it's easy to say that's what I'm going to do. And that's what Clemson has because they've done it. They've done it through high school. They have said, you know what? We've only won 4 games because we don't have enough transfer portal and all of our kids are leaving. His kids aren't leaving at that high rate. Now, if he was losing a bunch, you got to replenish. But if you're not losing a ton, you don't have to replenish with experience because you already have your experience players. You know who they are. You can say, okay, this is what we're going to do. They know when you say jumping jack time 50, they know what that play is. You see what I'm saying? So you're not, every single year, you're not building a new team. You're adding on. But when you are adding in portal players, you're adding in players that you don't know about that have bad habits that aren't really there to build your team. They're there to build themselves. Because if they were team players, they would have remained at the place that they were at before. Not all, but a lot of them. A high percentage. I would say 95% of those kids in the portal leaving is because they're selfish. The 5% that's leaving is because of circumstances they need to. So why would you want a selfish player on your team knowing that there's going to be hard times and you're not a player that's going to help me win a game? Go ahead.
One of the biggest questions, one of the biggest unknowns for this season is what would have happened if Cam Ward would have went to Ohio State.
National championship.
Not necessarily, because you just told me they can't stop the run. Cam don't play defense.
Reed, and go back to the text. All right.
Little Kerry.
And you can go back from weeks and weeks. I know Kerry wants to poke joke, but I'm gonna poke facts. Go back every single week. Tell me 3 components of winning tough games and winning national championships that you have to have. Reed just gave you one answer: quarterback. Your quarterback has to play elite level when it's time. Your head coach has to be able to prepare you for that elite game that time, and you have to be tough enough. Will Howard didn't do it. Ryan Day didn't do it, and they ain't tough enough. That's why they lost against Michigan.
So then, and by that state, then they would have had one of the 3 components and not the other 2. So
I'm a bet on Cam Ward making 2 or 3 plays versus Michigan's defense to win a game, and not Will Howard doing it.
I don't disagree. I feel like I told you, Ohio State is not supposed to lose that game. That's my and I'm standing on that 10 toes down. I'm not budging off of that state. I'm right there.
And Reed, I know you. And Kerry, let me just run some stuff at you real quick. And you're a football guy. Reed, can I get 2 minutes with him?
Go ahead.
All right. So you put Cam Ward with those 3 receivers in that offensive line. What do you have?
You got playmakers. You got guys you can get the ball to. A guy that can get the ball to guys in space, on time, and take care of business. And you got guys that's gonna make something happen when they get the ball in their hand.
Play breaks down. Who has a better playmaking grade and ability to make the right play, Will Howard or Cam Ward?
Cam Ward.
In the most difficult 3rd down red zone opportunity, game on the line, who have we seen make the play and not even blink?
I'm not disagreeing with you that Cam is a special quarterback.
You just laughed at me when I said if you go.
No. I just said you gave me 3 components, and if you could put Cam Ward on the roster, you only got one of those 3.
Can I say that if your leader is tough, your team is tough?
I don't disagree with that either.
I think Cam Ward is a tough individual.
I don't disagree with that either. I just don't know. Again, that ifs and buts was candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. He is not on Ohio State, and they just lost to Michigan.
I just asked a question. So late Friday night, we win the chat because it looked like Georgia Tech was about to knock Georgia. So Kerry got in there. I think his exact words was, "Is this the best the SEC has to offer?"
Right? That was my question.
He was really celebrating. Kerry said every time an SEC team
don't gas it up.
Every time an SEC team loses a game, particularly a non-conference game, Kerry is gonna have, he's gonna throw some salt on it.
That's question, man.
It was a worthy question, and I told you to keep your eyes focused, and you're gonna see elite level coaching, listen. When you've been through that fire, Kerry, you played for Mike T, correct?
Yeah.
Mike T ever blink?
No.
No.
We're not.
You're looking over there at your leader, and your leader. Go ahead.
Here's what I also told y'all, because I was joking when I said it. There was some truth to it, but it was a joke. And the reason, and I also said this. I said Georgia is going to win this game. Why? Because Georgia Tech has had 3 opportunities in this first half, in this first quarter, inside the 20, inside Georgia territory, and has came out with 3 points. They won't win this game. Georgia Tech cannot win this game because that team is too good versus Georgia Tech to win that game. And you've had that many opportunities. You should be up 17-0. You should at best 21-0, at worst 10-0, but you're up 3-0. You're going to lose this game at some point. So. Yeah. It was no confusion on my part. My main question was that team is. I saw the Texas game. Where was that? And we can talk about styles make fights, but when you are a championship team, bro, you bring the fight to whomever it is. Every time you come out, you're gonna have bad games. Yeah, you are. But when it's in college football, I feel like it's a lot different than the NFL. And this is the reason why. In the NFL, every player is in the NFL. Mm-hmm. In college, every one of them guys is not going to play in the NFL. So there is a disparity of talent on one end versus the other.
And if I got a bunch of guys that's going to be playing on Sunday and you got a bunch of guys that are not, that doesn't mean they're not good college football players. That means my team is better than yours, and I should show it every time I show up on the field on Saturday. And that's my problem with what I was asking about versus Georgia Tech. Why is this team that has players that's going to play on Sunday not showing? It's not the same thing?
No,
Do tell.
I've said this for weeks, bro.
Do tell.
That we all look at that Georgia logo and we think this is the Georgia team of 2 years ago.
I don't think it at all. I'm not confused.
But that's what the expectation is. But in all actuality, it's not. That offensive line that we used to see from Georgia, Reed, they used to line up and go 12 personnel and run inside zone, wham, power at you. They don't have the same capability and the same guys up front to do that. They don't even have the horses that are running the ball to make, if you miss a block, to make that block correct. The quarterback is good, but he's scary. At times, he doesn't even believe in himself, and you can see it. So the same way that we looked at Georgia, not the same. On defense, they're not the same powerhouse up front, 4 down, that can get after your quarterback, knock guys back, recreate the line of scrimmage, and play physical ball with guys on the outside that can cover you and hit you. Those guys on the outside don't even want to hit anymore.
But they did against Texas, so that's my confusion. Like
no,
it's
no,
not.
Terry,
it's the ability to do it is there.
They really did not
up front.
That.
Up
they
front. Did. No. Up front, we talked about it. They stem into different fronts. They had more energy. They were showing up versus Texas. Like that was a dominant defensive performance.
And that was a bad performance by Texas.
Because the defensive performance was that much better. Smoke, come on now. I'm not gonna let you off on that one because
Kerry,
you know,
Kerry, go back and you can watch the tape again. What I came on and said was that was one of the best games that I've seen Glenn Schumann call. And I saw Michael Williams get after maybe the number one left tackle like no other because he was healthy.
So,
but I never told you
wasn't healthy against Georgia Tech.
Kerry, he was. Yeah, he's healthy.
I'm asking. So yes, if you can, so listen to what I'm saying.
No. Let me finish. Let me just finish this last point.
Go ahead.
You and I both watched the game. At the end of the game, there was an incompletion, right? Number 13 is what I'm talking about. Whooped the right tackle, got his right hand up in the quarterback face, and knocked the ball down. That's the guy I'm talking about made the play. So he did show up when it was time. So I'm just saying it wasn't a dominant game because Georgia Tech made it murky. Texas did not play physical, and Texas was off that night. Quinn Ewers was off. They didn't play well.
So, Kerry, I got a question for you.
It feels like there are excuses when it's not performed. That's just how it sounds to me.
Kerry, I got a question. And we got 1,400 people watching live. And so you guys can see this is Kerry's handle that he throw the line on him. So don't DM me, DM him. Right?
DM me, give me all the hate messages, whatever you got. And
Kerry,
love to.
True or false, Kerry? And you can give your reason why. True or false? Question for you. The SEC is a better conference than the Big Ten.
This year? I'm asking.
Period.
This year?
Period. Period.
Period. In how far back are we going? Are we going in forever? In ever?
Pick any time period you want, Kerry.
No. Pick now, Kerry. Just say
forever.
Just say
the last 10, 15 years? Sure. We can do that. I'll give you that. You want to go? I sent y'all something earlier, and Smoke told me to stop it. Like, we talk about the best players to ever play this game. You know what schools they come from? You know where the Hall of Famers come from? Like, the SEC got really good here in the last 20 years. Tip the cap. Beautiful,
In the
man.
last 20 years, Barry Bryant was coaching 20 years ago.
In the last 20 years, the SEC has gotten really good. Y'all talk about that's one school, Carl Reed Jr.
Hey, Kerry, can I ask you a question? Let me just run. Carl, let me get him real quick. Can I get him?
Go ahead. This is crazy.
Y'all ain't gonna act like. Go ahead.
This hold tight real quick, Kerry. Let me get it in. From 1990, I mean, I'm going back to the 80s. From 1990 to about 96, what program had the world in a stronghold?
From 1990 to 96?
Yeah.
I would say Nebraska, Florida.
Okay, good.
Nebraska?
Yeah, Nebraska and Florida.
Okay.
And Florida, and throw Florida State in there too. Okay.
Like
So from 96 to 2000, who?
96 to 2000. Did Michigan win a national championship in that time?
97.
Tennessee won a national championship in that time.
Mm-hmm.
You got a couple
99
of schools.
Florida State.
99 Florida State. 98 was Tennessee. 97 was Michigan.
Tennessee. What league is Tennessee in?
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
What league is Tennessee in?
What league is Michigan in? What league is Florida State in?
All we're saying is that
what are you saying? You said nothing.
Let me keep going. Reed. So 2000, 2010. Who ran college football?
Miami ran it during the early 2000s. We gonna turn
So
our
2000 to 2010. Who?
Miami won a couple of national championships. Ohio State won a national championship in 02.
There was a team.
That was LSU.
Isn't that when Urban Meyer kind of took
06 was 06 Florida or LSU? 06 was Florida.
06 and 08 was Florida. 06 and 08.
And 03 was LSU.
03 was LSU.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then from that point on, we knew what happened.
And
I said
20 years.
At what point are you saying
USC won a national championship in there as well?
That was 03, 04. They split with LSU in 03. They were in 04, and then from there,
Texas won a national championship.
Right. So all we're saying is over the last 30 years, college football has been dominated primarily by the SEC. The draft numbers will tell you that. The national championships will tell you that.
I'm glad your frat brother B Quinn have come on here also Kerry and added into.
Come on, bro.
03 and 07 was LSU.
Really, I mean, honestly,
get them together.
2003. Hold on. 2003 really is the start. Like you can make an argument. Late 90s, it was split vote. Okay, fine.
That's what I said.
Fine. 2003 to now, it's not even close.
Clay, I said 20 years.
Do y'all not forget that Steve Spurrier had Florida dominating football?
I said 20 years.
That was over 20 years ago.
I gave you that.
That was more than 20 years ago when Spurrier Florida.
No, I'm talking about what B Clay just said.
Yeah, they only won one though. I mean, to the point that Kerry's making, I can agree to that. But they won the 96 like there was 96.
And Florida State was dominant. They only won one as well, too, but Florida State was rolling as well.
Well, they won 93 and 99. They got two in that time span.
Florida State, 93, 99.
Yep.
Nebraska won 94, 95. You said the most dominant team, like Nebraska wasn't the dominant team.
Yeah.
Like,
it really was 03. 03 was the beginning of the run. I think it's like 14 of the last 20.
B Clay and Kerry, all I'm saying is at every single point, you can throw an SEC team in there every other year. You
Multiple
can't say that.
Not until 2003, man.
And then, Kerry, what are you talking about? In the 90s as well, too.
You keep saying Florida State. They not in the SEC. They just in the South.
I said Florida.
They got one in the 90s.
Tennessee also won one in the 90s.
Okay, hold on. I got y'all. Hold on. We're gonna make this real easy. Listen now. 02, Ohio State, 01, Miami, 2000, Oklahoma, 99, Florida State. There was a 4-year run. The SEC team didn't get one. 98, Tennessee gets one. 97, Michigan, Nebraska split. 96, Florida. 95, 94, Nebraska both. 93 again, Florida State. Another 3-year span without an SEC team. 92 Alabama, and then 91 Washington, Miami, and then 90 Colorado Tech, 90 or 89 Miami.
And we're not going. And that so. Are y'all going? You going to discount the Big Ten and the
Big
Pac-12?
10? Big Ten?
I asked you one question.
And I answered it. I said in forever or in the last 20 years. Because if you're saying forever, it's the Big Ten. If you're saying the last 20 years, it's the SEC. Clay, would you like to keep going down that list past 91?
Hey, I wasn't around for any of the games. I ain't gonna hold you.
Hey, Kerry.
I was.
Can I ask you a question?
I was like 7, dog.
In 2000, you came out in 99. 1999, if Tennessee offered you a full scholarship, or Michigan offered you in 1999, where would you have gone to school at?
Michigan.
Good. I'm good. Go ahead. You're right.
You asked me a question.
So you would rather play in the Big Ten than the SEC?
I live in hell yeah. Then no question.
Ow.
Carl Reed, am I lying?
You're not lying.
This didn't happen for him until he moved to Tennessee.
Listen, man. Like if you'd offered me a scholarship, that was to Woodson. I was playing with Woodson on the video game, dog. I ain't gonna hold you. Like I might have gone to Michigan.
Hold on.
Bad Woodson might have gone.
Did you ever go to a Tennessee camp?
No, we went to Michigan.
Did you ever go to an Alabama camp?
No.
Did you ever go to an LSU camp?
No.
Were you guys ever invited to go?
Did you go to a Michigan camp?
Were you ever invited?
Were
you
invited?
Were you invited
to Michigan?
No, to any of those schools that you said. Were you invited to Alabama camp?
These schools didn't recruit up here.
Got it. That makes sense. I got you.
They didn't recruit. So when you asking me, where would I rather have gone? It would have been somewhere.
Were you invited? You weren't invited. You weren't invited. You're invited. I get it. I agree with you. You ain't invited, bro.
Listen, the last thing I want to talk about, then we're gonna get out of here. B, I'm gonna start with you. Who's winning the Heisman? Who's your Heisman Trophy winner?
Travis. That's simple. I mean, somebody was arguing about it the other day. And they made some really good points. And they were just talking across the board with him. And I said, listen, y'all.
It's just 20 years ago.
You got it. That's the facts. Hey, dial-up, nigga.
Why it's so much important. That's why the internet has taken off and allowed y'all to show up in the manner.
Man, watch out. Let me finish my statement, man. Back to Travis Hunter. When you look at the numbers he's putting up, he's as good statistically as any receiver in America. It's awesome. Like to see that, right, is wild. Let me start there. And then he's had multiple games in which he's had an interception and a touchdown. It's wild, man. So to me, if that doesn't get my Heisman vote, we've given Heisman votes, and respectfully, people like Woodson who are awesome, great players, but they weren't playing every single down both sides. I didn't think he was going to be able to sustain. Like when he first started doing it, I'm like, wait, he's going to play every down? I thought he was going to play some downs. The fact that he's played every down for years on end, dog, kudos to Travis Hunter. Give him the trophy and let's take it to the crib.
Yeah.
Kerry, Heisman, who you got?
I also have Travis, but I'm going to be honest, man. What that young man doing in Boise State is amazing.
Awesome. Hold on. Get out the middle of the road.
It's awesome. But it's Travis.
I just told you. I think it's Travis, but I'm okay if Ashton Genty wins the Heisman. He got a couple more games. He's probably going to potentially surpass Barry Sanders for a single season rushing. And you put your name up there with Barry in any category, on any level, at any league. I mean, what are we talking about?
Kerry, can I ask you something real quick? Come back on the good side of it. Come on. Hold on.
I'm here.
All right. you made an argument for your running back. Stay true with it, right?
Yeah.
Stay true with it, because what you're saying is not wrong. I think this is a very close race, Reed.
Mhm.
And you didn't even ask me the question because I know you didn't want to ask me because you're gonna call me a hater. What Travis is doing is crazy. Respect. But to me, this has to have somewhat of a team element as well to it, an importance to the team at the end of the day. They're both to have a remarkable season, historical season on both ends. But I think Ashton Genty's performance in clutch games, clutch moments, I think what he's doing for Boise with the opportunity to win their conference and be in the playoff, I would give that
bye
to him.
Yeah, I agree. Like he's
flat out
to
the
me,
best player in college football, Reed. I'm going to say Travis. But the Heisman Trophy best player contributing to the game and his team, I would give it to Genty.
We got a comment from one of our viewers that said, Troy Rhodes says, picking a dude from the Mountain West to win the Heisman is nasty business.
Well,
you ain't
can I
seen
say
that
something
guy,
like this too?
You ain't see that guy play against Oregon. Like I love that. I love the hate that man is getting. You rush for 250 yards a game, 220 yards a game. Stop it.
You know what? That's nasty work for you even saying that, Carl, for even bringing that up. For the simple fact that you haven't seen Travis go against 4 elite receivers and lock them up. And you haven't seen 4 elite DBs go against him, and you say, you know what? He did him dirty.
T-Mac had Arizona not elite?
I said 4. I didn't say 1. I said 4. You had to get T-Mac is elite. But it's the same conversation that you're saying against the Mountain West that somebody in the SEC or Big Ten can say it as well against Colorado playing in the Big 12.
Well, listen. You right, Smoke. I didn't ask you because I said I knew you were going to ask.
You
all right. You all right about that. That's a true story.
I know you were going.
Travis Hunter's the Heisman winner. He's played every snap on both sides of the ball. His impact on this team is unquestioned. And we still don't know what position he's going to play in the NFL. He says he's going to do both. I know all you former NFL guys don't think that he can, but y'all didn't think he could do it in college either, so we'll see.
I think he can do it. I just believe that if he wants to be elite at a position, it's DB. He has an elite trait at a defensive back. He does not have an elite trait as a wide receiver. This is my opinion. Like, what does he do different than every other receiver that's a top 5 receiver in college football? I'm asking you that, Reed.
What does he do what?
What does he do elite at the receiver position?
The way he tracks the ball. The way he goes up and gets the ball in traffic. Nobody else does that the way he does.
What, go catch the ball in traffic?
Yeah, nobody can do it.
Cut the film on and watch T-Mac out there in Arizona.
I don't watch them.
T-Mac goes up and get the ball. You have that's what I'm saying. You have other receivers that their skill set is comparable. I'm not saying that he's not a good receiver, but his ball skills at the defensive back position, the cornerback, is elite, rare. That's what separates him. So if you put the ball in anywhere close and it's 50-50, yeah, that's Travis's ball as a defensive back. That's what separates him. Getting the ball, catching the ball as a receiver is normal behavior. Getting an interception, giving your team the ball with the opportunity to score, that's a game-changing opportunity. That's all I'm saying.
Well, the last thing I'm gonna say, guys, before we get out of here, for all the high school guys that watch coaches, players, parents, and whatnot, just make good decisions on your recruiting. Had a parent hit me up. Their coach just got fired today. They're supposed to sign on Wednesday. They wanted to know what they should do. If you don't have anywhere else to go, you should still sign and get ready. That's what you should do. Yeah, if they send you a letter of intent, you better be ready to put pen.
Read the letter of intent is no more, no bueno.
Oh, that's right. No more letter of intent.
No more letter of intent.
It's financial aid agreement. You're right.
It's an agreement with the conference and your school. So the only advice I have for anybody, if you don't have one of those in your inbox or several of them in your inbox, you don't have a place to go.
And if you only got one, you got to make it work, no matter who the coach is.
As soon as that available time is, whatever it is, 7 Central, whatever time it is in your time zone, make sure that you are signing that up.
7 a.m. As soon as you wake
I'm
up,
talking about.
as soon as your feet hit the ground.
And Reed, just remember now, the new agreement, once you sign, you are bound to that agreement moving forward. It's not like the old NLI, where the national letter of intent, you can sign 8 of them and you have to step foot on campus in order for it to trigger. Once you have signed, you have locked in for a year. So make sure you sign where you want to go to, because when you send it back and that compliance guy gets it and he looks at it and says, Coach, we got Carl Reed in, and stamp him on the board. They ain't letting you out like they used to. And you don't have that likelihood of saying, I'm not going to show up to your campus, and that's not it. You're going to have to sit down for a year, buddy.
Yeah.
And call it.
Listen, sign that agreement on Wednesday, man, and secure your education. Stop being emotional, man. We're going to see you guys next week. Keep working.
Big Ten ball.
Gotta love it.